But first, breaking news, Idaho paramedics racing to a Post Falls neighborhood. A 911 called for a 3-year-old toddler boy unresponsive. Babysitter says while changing the toddler's wet diaper, the 3-year-old goes limp. An emergency CT scan tonight confirms a bleeding skull fracture. All we know right now, the baby wets himself, and now he's in intensive care. Skull fracture, bleeding to the brain over wet pants? No. We want answers straight out to Spokane, Washington. Megan Cuniff is with us from the Spokesman's Review. Megan, what happened?
Well, Nancy, we have a 3-year-old boy who's fighting for his life at a hospital right now. His babysitter's the only suspect in this, but police say she admitted to pushing him to the ground after he wet his pants. She said that she became frustrated and angry with him and shoved him, and that caused him to hit his head and cause some pretty traumatic head injuries.
No, Megan, it doesn't happen that way. I change wet diapers all day long. I change diapers standing in urine. It doesn't happen. You don't shove a child this age who's 2 feet tall and they have a skull fracture and bleeding to the brain. To Dr. Marty McCary joining us out of Johns Hopkins, physician, professor of public health, Washington, D.C. Marty, no, this is a lie.
This is the hallmark of child abuse. It's a force that's disproportionate to the frustration level. And with skull fractures, if you land in a certain place on the head or fall in a certain place on the skull, a bleeding vessel can cause a massive internal bleed and a massive concussion, and you can have problems for a long time.
McCary, doctor, are you telling me that a baby that is just standing there that falls over, that is standing up and falls over, is going to get a skull fracture and bleeding to the brain?
If a child is pushed and lands in a certain place where the blood vessels run along the skull, it can cause serious internal bleeding that'll surprise almost anybody.
Well, I'm telling you, doctor, you've got an MD, I've got a JD. I'll take you on in court on that because I do not believe this child has a skull fracture from falling over. From a standing position, the kid's only maximum 3 feet tall. I don't believe it.
They would need to be pushed.
Megan Cuniff is joining us in the Spokesman Review. Megan Cuniff, what more can you tell me?
Well, police are awaiting the outcome of the child. They say that he underwent surgery. He was rushed by helicopter to a hospital over here in Spokane, which is about 25 miles away from where he was injured. They say he underwent surgery, but he remains in critical condition. I got off the phone with him probably about an hour ago. They said there's been no change in his condition and that they're awaiting to see what happens with him before they file charges against this woman.
Out to the lines, out to Emily. Hi, Emily. What's your question?
Hi. What I'd like to know is, I'd like to make a comment. I hope they throw the book at this lady. And second of all, how long did they know this sitter? And second of all, what has she watched? How long has she watched their child?
Good question. Back to Megan Cuniff from the Spokesman Review, joining us out of Spokane. Megan, who is this babysitter? She's 25 years old. How long has she been babysitting for little Cohen?
Yeah, she's 25. Police said she's been watching the boy for about 6 months or so, and she's known the family for about a year.
And where were Mommy and Daddy?
That's unclear. That information has not been released by police. They haven't released much information about the boy's identity. Or
Megan, is the boy going to live?
They don't know, Nancy. They say that's still very up in the air. They're just not sure. They say he's in very critical condition.
Everyone tonight, Cohen Johnson, just 3 years old, in critical condition. As of right now, police are not releasing the babysitter's name. This is out of Idaho, Post Falls, Idaho, 25 miles east of Spokane, Washington. We'll bring you the very latest as we get it in, but right now,